Welcome to another edition of the Board Game Classroom. Let's talk about power. Power. We need that, right? I can't even film this video without power. I need some kind of thing to charge my devices so that I can film these videos. And in science class, we get to talk about power a lot. We get to talk about how power is made, how we get our electricity and our other resources from one place to another, and how all that works together. And a good game to play along with that is, of course, Friedemann Fries's Power Grid. Power Grid is a lot of fun to play. It's very challenging for the age group of students I teach this to. For the most part, the gameplay is a little bit above their level, but they do rise to the challenge of playing Power Grid. Let's take a look at Power Grid and see why I like to use this one in a science class setting. One of the first things that I like about Power Grid is the game comes with a double-sided board. We could play here in Germany, or we could flip it over and play on the reverse side and play in the United States. So we could play in two different sections of the world, and we could talk about how the Power Grid even works in our country, in the United States. We could talk about it in other countries, and with expansions, there's other places of the world that get added to that. Now, the game of Power Grid is played in a few different ways. Let's talk about how that works. In Power Grid, the players are going to be determining their turn order. Now, that's a big deal because you get to do things in different orders depending on what's going on. You have the option to buy a power plant. Now, the first turn, you have to buy a power plant. And the power plant cards are played in a market. You have the market that's available now, which I put over here. And then you have the futures market, so you can kind of see what's coming up in play. In the beginning, your power plants aren't that good. But that's okay, because you can only have 3 power plants at a time. Because you can only have 3 power plants, you will sometimes have to destroy one to rebuild another. Now, what's fun about this is your power plants are powered by different things, and that's going to show up in the market. You might have coal plants, you might have trash plants, you might have plants powered by oil, you might have nuclear plants, or you might even have plants that are hybrids, so they can run on a combination of different kinds of things. Now, the players can buy resources in the game to power their plants, and a power plant can hold double the resources that it takes. So if a power plant needs 2 coal to power it, they can hold up to 4. And that shows up in the market here. So in a specific order, for example, the last player goes, and it goes in reverse order, to purchase what they need to power their plant. Then, after that phase, again in the last player around, in that order will go, you'll be building cities to put out in your section of the map, depending on the amount of players and how much of the map can be used, with the goal to power your plants and to pay the cost to power different cities across the board. And then finally, the last turn, you're going to get money for powering your plants. And there's a little cheat card here to show you how many cities you have and how many plants you can power with those cities. Then you will re-add power plants like you did in phase 1. And then you have the option to remove power plants so that you can upgrade. And then finally, you are going to restock down here the raw materials in a specific way so that the next turn you have more stuff that you can buy and reset the system, which is why player order does matter in this game. Now, this game will change as it progresses. And what I mean by that is once the 7th city is built by a player in a turn, something else will happen. You will start to have to remove certain power plants, and the building prices will start to change. And different rules come out with building into different parts. For example, in Savannah, you can start building in that 15 section. Now, there's a certain card in the stack of power plants, and when the step 3 card is drawn, you'll begin step 3, and step 3 will move until the game progresses to its end. Now, this game will win and end when, after phase 4, 17 cities are in a network that are powered. Once that happens, the game is over. It could happen at more than 17 cities show up, but that doesn't happen very often. Power grid. Without a doubt, would I recommend this in the classroom? Well, that really would depend on your setting. It's a little bit of a challenging game. So it's really important that when you play it with your students, you have the rules firmly grounded so that you can show them how to play this game, to show them how to get the steps done, and to help them through it a little bit, especially early on in the game. When you're auctioning off these power plants, sometimes the kids get a little crazy with the auction because money is a concept that not all of the kids grasp very well. So important that you are spending a little bit of time helping them through that, holding their hands, as it will, throughout the beginning of the game so they get a feel for it. Because this is a game that could easily take a long time. I wouldn't recommend throwing them at this game blind without a little bit of help and hand holding in the game. The kids do love it. It's a lot of fun. It's something that you can do in segments and not try to tackle all at once. So I do recommend that when you play this game, you are careful about how much time you devote to it. And you make sure as a teacher in the classroom, you are really knowledgeable at these rules so that when you play it with the kids, they know how to do it and you can help them through it. So, Power Grid, give it a shot in your classroom if you can. But make sure you are good and you are ready to go. If you don't have it, if you're not too sure on the rules, don't try it. Make sure you have it good in your head, how you want to play it and how you want to use it in your classroom before you try to throw it at the kids. I can tell you from experience, it works much better if you are totally set on it and you know exactly how you want to run it in the classroom. Even if you've played this a bunch of times, it's different when you are introducing it to a class of students. So definitely give it a shot. Make sure you're good to go on the rules. Thank you for watching another edition of the Board Game Classroom. Have a good day gaming.